Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's for
Amy.
Riley. Welcome back,
Welcome back to me or to Little Turtle Cuties.
everyone.
Welcome back, Little Turtle Cuties. Amy and I are back.
Welcome to me. That is a Kristen Wiig movie that I used on Cinematrix the other day.
She had a movie called Welcome to Me.
She did.
What was it about?
I think she had like a public access show. It was a low percentage, like no one, it was a rare answer.
You have to tell me someday. You have to spend 1 hour with me and tell me how to play Cinematrix, because you told me for 10 minutes and I hear people talk about it. I have no fucking
Your brain got
clue.
scrambled.
It was, when did that, you showed me that a month ago, and
I love if there was a montage of your life for the past 2 weeks, you're like rearing a child and like moving forward, and I'm like in like a padded cell, like trying to think of Forrest Whitaker movies. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, he directed Hope Floats.
I don't think it's so far removed. I'm doing the same 4 repetitive things, almost like a baby Cinematrix of 5 things over and over again that I'm getting better at. So I can kind of see where you're at too, Cinematrix wise. But I just feel I really do want to know. So someday, if you ever have extra time for me, because I want to be a part of
Maybe I'll keep an eye out for one that I feel is really geared towards you.
Yeah.
That I think will be an easy start for you.
But I don't even understand the what's when 2 things are on the same axis. I don't even understand the basic premise of it. So you'll just, I really
couldn't
need
be
your
more simple.
Really, okay, all right. I really want your time. But you started out by saying, "Welcome to Me," a Kristen Wiig movie.
Yeah.
First of all, I've never heard of that. Second of all, I don't think Kristen Wiig, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it worked out too well for Kristen Wiig
Miss Wiig?
in terms of once she really started to have that sort of post SNL career, everyone was like, oh my God, like
Tell
Kristen.
that to Despicable Me 4.
Why, she's in that?
Yep.
Oh, she's one of the main people.
I think so. I only knew that on Cinematrix because she did so much press with Will Ferrell.
Okay.
And I'm like, she probably got paid so much to do that.
Oh, of course. Oh, she's
You
set.
know?
She's set for life monetarily. She's probably got millions and millions of dollars. I just meant that sort of like Kristen
yeah, like
Wiig
there was
is
not
the
like a bunch of bridesmaids. Like she didn't
Yeah.
do like the Melissa McCarthy road.
skeleton twins.
Yeah, that was
that
another
her?
good option for a little quirky answer.
So you can do whatever you want.
It has to be like, it'll either say like 2010 to 2015. So like sometimes you'll think of one that's so good, but it doesn't fall in the categories. You can't
And
use
it'd
it
be
at
like
all.
movies with skeletons,
Yeah.
2000s movies, and you'd be like
Yeah.
Beetlejuice or skeleton twins.
Right. Like it would be like if it said like Bill Hader
Okay,
on the
and that's-
top
tell
and
me-
Kristen Wiig on the bottom, Skeleton Twins would be
Wait,
the
wait,
perfect
wait.
answer.
And you can do whatever you want.
if it is correct.
All right, so if it's like Kristen Wiig, and you just said a good example, Kristen Wiig on top, Bill Hader on the side, and then in that spot where they correlate,
Yes.
sort of like a Venn diagram, but that's
Yeah,
not
it
technically
has
what
to
it's called.
work for both.
You could be like Bridesmaids, he was maybe in that.
Yeah, like it could be like Paul Feig,
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy, Bridesmaids.
Yeah. I was just watching a bunch of, that's great. I just watched a bunch of Seth Rogen and Judd Apatow films, and it's so, it's Bill Hader is still very much used, but he was like, people thought that they found the hottest thing in the world. Every movie had Bill Hader as like
Yeah.
their best friend or, a bit player, like supporting player.
Yeah.
It was like Bill Hader's complete era. I mean, he's still doing great. I'm proud of him, but
Yeah. Well, now that Barry's done, I'm sure he'll do something.
oh, of course he will. What's next for Bill Hader?
Well, anyways, we are back to work. The Turtle Time HR policy has a very short paternity leave.
2 weeks. So it's amazing that you and I set the policy, but we made it to where it's, I am kind of you and I both are hardliners. We say, get back to
Yeah.
work, Dad.
Staunch capitalist.
I had to kiss Penny goodbye and say, Daddy's got to go
You
record
were
a
wearing-
podcast.
You had a tie on.
I said,
a
good,
briefcase.
I said, goodbye, my baby. I hope you've learned some lessons. You have mommy time now. Daddy has to go work his ass off for you to
Yeah.
make money again. But do you think, we put those sort of, I would say, like placeholder episodes the last 2 weeks. Do you think anybody noticed that we were off?
I think it was a fun little shakeup.
You think?
I don't know.
Were they successful?
I didn't look. I did
Yeah.
the bare minimum during your paternity leave.
Okay, well, I'm glad. I mean, if you were on a paternity leave, I would take it off too, just because I would want that same vacation. When you went to Europe, I sort of pretended like
Yeah.
I was on a vacation as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like we loaded enough non-topical references in those 2 weeks that people probably thought, whoa, they could have recorded this at any time. I think we did a
Right.
good job there.
Yeah. I felt like Bravo schedule wise, it was good timing because there's only really OC on, but then there was sort of a lot going on in the Bravo universe in real life, like the news. Like, I think Jax had gone to rehab before we left, but he is now out of rehab.
Yes.
Brittany filed for divorce.
Yes.
The cast of The Valley is in Hawaii today.
Right now?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my God.
And Jax is home with Cruz for his first day of school. And I was wondering, I'm like, do you think that Jax is even allowed to go to Hawaii still?
That's a good question because, as we know, as fervent Vanderpump Rules watchers, that's where he went to a sunglass hut when he stole those sunglasses.
Yeah, he's a felon. And then Jesse Lally, someone posted a photo, someone in the group, of him hugging and sitting on the lap of his ex-wife Michelle's new boyfriend, who's also on the trip.
So they're sort of like goals.
That seems like almost a little
too
much.
much.
Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
And we already know that they're like, now we know like they're great. Maybe they had a rough, rocky time and now they're like having the time of their life in Hawaii. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's giving their marriage was dead for much longer than we even knew.
They both seem so much happier. Remember when we saw Michelle out at,
Something about her.
well, right outside.
Yeah.
She went to that smoothie place right across the street, but she was walking with a spring in her step. She was sort of, do you remember?
Yeah.
She was sort of spinning around in circles, smiling. And
Like
I was
Britney
like,
Spears.
she was sort of, what? Oh.
Like how she's always
Of
dancing in a
course.
circle.
Yeah, she was really happy. I'm sure Jesse's happy too. You know, they tried
He
to make it,
looks fit. Like, he looks like he lost a bunch of weight and, like,
Yeah.
looks very clear-headed.
they're kind of, you know, post-divorce goals, like I was saying. It's like they wanted to stay together for their wonderful daughter, but they just knew, you know, Michelle absolutely hated her life with
Yeah.
Jesse. And I'm
was
sure
bad.
he's happier now too.
And I feel like Brittany's going to be so happy. It's honestly such a bummer. Like, on Patreon, as you guys probably know at this point, we're watching old Vanderpump, and we just watched one where Brittany has to take Jax home from the hospital again because he got his, like, breast lump surgery. And I was just, like, watching her, like, take care of him, and I'm like, she really gave him the best years of her life. Like, I wouldn't usually say the way, like, Katie and Schwartz, like, they both said that they have no regrets and like they had some of the best times and stuff. And I'm like, even though their relationship was so bad, I believe them.
Yeah, that they still.
And like, I like get what they're talking about. And with Jax and Brittany, I'm like, Brittany must be like, fuck, like I should have left before.
Yeah, like that was overall, that was kind of a rough time with
Yeah.
Jax. Yeah, I mean, the only thing everyone says is like, well, thank God, you know, because I got my little baby boy Cruz.
Yeah.
That's like the one silver lining. But yeah, the arc of their relationship is less enviable or whatever. Like you said, like I do see the more of the magic of what kept Katie and Tom together, even though they had one of the worst relationships in history. But there wasn't a lot of that. I was actually that's a good thing you just said, because I was like, I wanted to do a video celebrating like the magical moments in Jax and Brittany's relationship to like honor what we lost.
Like a fan cam.
Like a fan cam, thinking of their most iconic, beautiful moments. And I didn't even want to be ironic. I wanted to think of beautiful moments, but there weren't a lot that came to mind. Jax buying her baby her brother a baby in Jax and Brittany Take Kentucky, but he kind of held that over her head.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really that beautiful. It was more for his own self-esteem that he did that.
Him stealing sunglasses for her,
But
then ruined her trip.
Lying about, you know, the Lala stuff. He started on such a rocky footing with Lala shit. He cheated on her about halfway into their relationship.
I guess the engagement might be like the only sweet moment
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yes, probably engagement to the lead up to the wedding. I think he was taking out a lot of his rage and frustrations on the other Vanderpump Rules cast members and maybe not Brittany for the most part.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't really, like, Katie and Tom do have beautiful, iconic moments. I can't think of any right now. But if you know what I mean? Like, if you were.
It's like him pouring beer on her head,
Yeah.
like her saying his dick doesn't work.
Yeah, but there were some, there were some sweet moments. And they said that there was a lot of moments that we didn't see filmed.
Right.
Where they would get Uber Eats and they would watch TV shows together.
Rot together.
Yeah.
Did you notice that Brittany's like post-divorce post, her caption said, "Getting my sparkle back"?
Yes.
Which I'm like, we know what that's about, because if we should post about, remind people that we recapped Jax and Brittany Take Kentucky on the 4th of July.
It's one of our
The
lost.
least,
Yeah, it's one of our lost
listened to
episodes.
episodes of all time. It's so highly extra relevant now.
It's a cult episode of Turtle Time. Everybody, if you like Turtle Time,
If you know, you know.
Amy and I really made a horrible decision and said we have to release an episode on 4th of July, the day of the holiday. And we did a full 3-hour recap of Jax and Brittany Take Kentucky. And I feel like it's as evergreen as possible. It's like it's the full retrospective of Jax and Brittany's relationship and a dissection of that show. So please listen to that, for the love of God.
Yeah, but I love that she did a personal callback to something bitchy he said, like
He said
7
spark,
years ago
though.
or whatever. It kept changing, I think.
I really
like
feel
the
like
family was like, he was like, she's lost her spark, she's lost her like whatever, but then her family would be like,
sparkle.
hey, told me that you lost your sparkle.
Right.
Like it kept getting like misinterpreted.
Yeah, but I feel like Jack specifically said spark. Yeah, so Brittany's happy as hell, you can see.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to add a little bit of, you're much more on top of the news than I have been the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you leading me through this, segment. But I saw something that our friend sent to us where it was Zach Wickham. Do you remember him?
Of course.
He said he's still in the valley stirring up shit. And he went on Twitter, I guess, and he goes, how the hell do you go into a mental rehab facility and come out even worse than before?
You're forgetting how he began that sentence, because it's my favorite part.
I'm sorry.
He says, riddle me this.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He said, riddle me this?
He did a full riddle me this.
He did a riddle me this? People stop saying
It's my
that.
favorite way to start a sentence.
Riddle me this. How is it possible you come out of rehab a worse person than when you went in? How is that possible?
Only Jax knows.
Oh my God.
He's been very like, if you look at Jax's like Instagram, he's so conscious of how he's coming off. Like he posted like a Buddha quote, which is like all janky and funny. And then he did like a black and white photo of him reading material that
Did
I'm
you
not
see the
sure
book
what.
he was reading?
What is it?
The 4
Agreements. He also has a little notebook that says
it was The Alchemist.
group therapy notes he has. And this is where he shares he shared his diagnosis that he got in rehab, which he came out saying he has bipolar disorder and PTSD, which I was reading the comments and a lot of people were like, these comments don't pass the vibe check, because there's like 400 people that go, PTSD from what?
I just saw that. I'm looking up in real time. Someone said, PTSD from what, can I ask? And he goes, losing my mother and father.
Yeah, he says again to someone else that he lost both his parents the same day.
But mother was self-imposed.
Right.
I feel so bad. If Jax is
Did
not...
they never make up?
I mean, losing my mother and father. I mean, this is as of 3 days ago. I mean, that is a huge deal that we don't talk about anymore. The fact that Jax got so upset with his mom about how she handled the passing of his father that he just wrote her out completely of his life. Like that does. I mean, that's so hard. I wonder how his mom has been taking that.
I know.
But he does have access. I mean, I know he wrote her off and he doesn't want to forgive her yet. But I mean, if for his mental well-being, if there's forgiveness in his heart, I mean, it might be good for him to maybe, build that bridge back to his mom if he ever wants to.
Yeah. I did also see a friend screenshotted that on his post about going away.
He said going away?
Well,
No, yeah.
I think it was, hold on, which post was it? I think it was
You're
the one
not-
we're talking about, but one of the top comments was from Joe Exotic himself that
Oh my
said,
God.
take care of yourself. It will be okay.
That is so awesome. And you reminded me, because I forgot who Joe Exotic was. I call him Tiger King at home, but that's the Tiger King himself. Is he
I think
post-incarcerated?
he's in jail.
He is?
I think he was commenting that from jail.
Oh my God. I didn't know that they knew each other.
Apparently, is Joe Exotic a fan?
I got him confused with Joey Bananas.
Yeah. I bet Joe Exotic thinks Jax is hot.
Why?
It seems like his type, you know?
Oh, you know what? I only watched Tiger King right when COVID hit on March 15th, 2020. That's when I watched Tiger King, and I
Yeah.
didn't truly really enjoy it. And I haven't thought about it since.
There's like a new one about like some chimp bitch. Like
Wait.
it's called like Chimp Slut or something.
I think it's called, you're really
Chimp
close.
Empire. Chimp Queen.
I think it was called Chimp. Another word that starts
Chimp
with this.
Woman.
I think it was called Chimp Woman. And I've heard people are going absolutely crazy
Ape
for
shit.
it. It's a lady who's
can't-
obsessed with chimps.
I don't want sad animal things.
I know. Me neither. Where they get like hurt or anything.
Yeah, like I don't want it.
That's why Grizzly Man is so good.
Yeah.
Because they're not hurting.
It's a warning to the humans to not fuck around and find out.
So what else about, so is that the end of the Valley? I just think that the Valley, if we're ending that discussion,
Yeah.
they've definitely given me enough of some, cause for me curiosity in terms of what's going on for season 2. I mean, there's a lot they're working with there.
Totally.
I mean, the fact that they're going to Hawaii, the fact that Jax entered a mental health facility during the run of it and then came out, and we're going to see him post
Divorce.
mental health. And then someone told me, I think TMZ, they said that Brittany served the divorce papers right to his face on camera, similar to, do you remember that scene in Marriage Story?
Oh yeah. Oh man, you should have played Cinematrix the other day.
Really?
It was Noah Baumbach,
Okay.
Greta Gerwig,
Can you
Ben Stiller,
Okay.
and Adam Driver.
Oh my God. And you could choose anything you want.
It was like
Greenberg, number 1,
yeah.
because has all of them. I was going to say Barbie, but that Ben Stiller doesn't work.
I'll find it and I'll recreate it for you, and you can play it on paper. Chicken scratch.
That'd be so sweet. Let's post a photo of the paper you give me of your notes where I work it out on my own. It's like you give me...
You do the math.
Yeah, you give me like my own like easy example of
Yeah,
Cinematrix that I can fill out
exactly.
for myself. I don't know. While we're young, I don't know if Greta Gerwig is in that one. Yeah, I think she
Well-
skipped that one. That was good of her.
I'll lay it out for you. There's between them all, there's plenty of options to play with.
Ben Stiller has to be involved in them.
Only in that one row.
Oh,
So it's like Ben Stiller and Noah Baumbach.
they are great. They have
Yeah.
Meyerowitz stories. Well,
And then I think there was like a year one and like it wasn't like
Are
all
your-
just actors.
are your friends all playing Cinematrix?
Yeah, we text each other every day.
So I'm so out of the loop. Will you put me in there?
Tag you in.
Yeah, I want to be a part of it.
I feel like now that you have a small child, it's perfect because you could just like sit there and be like bopping around.
I really do spend 30 minutes giving my daughter milk, and I have nothing else to do except listen to things or possibly think of combinations of movies that could be 2 different categories.
Yeah, it gets a little mind rending. Is that a word?
Yeah. Well, heart-wrenching. Mind-rending. I'm using my
But
phone
it's
a
good
lot
for,
today.
your brain to try and think of things
Yeah.
that are stuck in the recesses of your mind.
I searched mind-rending and it said mind-reading, but that's not what you meant. No, but
no.
you're right. You're right. I know that word too.
Okay, so outside of Jax, there was like a million other things that happened.
Yeah.
First of all, I guess it's relevant to since we were talking about Scary Island on one of our in-betweener episodes. I don't remember how much I talked about Bethany and chicken salad. I've definitely already talked about it here, but Kelly Ben-Simone has recently started also reviewing chicken salad,
Whoa,
obviously in
what?
retaliation.
Is it really?
Yes.
It's Kelly, oh my God, Kelly. So Kelly knows what Bethany is doing and wants a little piece of the chicken salad review.
TikTok, yeah.
TikTok content. So that's really, it's a direct correlation. There's no
100%.
excuse.
Because she went to Round Swamp Farms, which is where all of the Bethany stuff happened. And they're the ones that didn't pay attention to Bethany, and she was pissed off about it. And then Kelly was there, and she was like, I've been coming here for years. I love this small business. I love this family. They love me. I love
Round
coming
Swamps?
here. Mr. and Mrs. Round Swamp. And then she was reviewing chicken salad. And
The same chicken salad that Bethany said was the most acclaimed?
I think she did do it there, and then she also reviewed like a random different one. And some of the comments, of course, I ran to the comments, and someone said, "Is it made by a chef or a cook? If you know, you know." And she said, "What are you talking about?"
Oh my God.
And then someone said, "Cook, not chef, cook." Blah blah blah. And she goes, "Huh? This is chicken salad."
Do you think she's trolling?
It's like, that's the thing that's so nuts about her. You really can never tell exactly what's going on.
Here's what I'll say in defense of my concern, my deep concern that she's just trolling with the commenters, because she only has 6 things that she's notable for in her entire run. One is having unfortunately sort of a psychotic episode, some may call it, during Scary Island, where she said all of those things to Bethany. Al Sharpton, satchels of gold, cook not chef. And so I'm above you, you're here, I'm here. So she must remember the 6 notable things from her entire run. So I think she's being a little bit, silly with her fans. Don't you think?
Hopefully.
I think she has to know. And she just had this deep dive back into the Roni world when they went on their trip.
Yeah.
So she's kind of, I feel like she's in.
They're really like promoting on like Peacock and on Bravo and stuff. And I'm like, I guess they like ran the numbers, and it felt to them like their Jax and Brittany episode where they're like, I think we didn't get enough juice out of this.
Yeah. Can I make a horrible admission?
You didn't finish it?
I don't think so.
It was really short.
You and I, we were talking about it like Christmas time last year, and I feel like you and I talked about the first 4 episodes, and then we had like a Christmas break, and I just like never watched the final, so I don't know how
I don't know
it
if
ended.
I finished Crappy Lake.
Oh my God. Yeah, I did.
Not like it's our job or anything.
Right. It ended with, I forget, Crappy Lake ended with
The cabaret?
like a high school sort of
Maybe
play
I did
or
watch
something.
that then.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, also, I wanted to shout out, if you guys listen to our Patreon episode this coming Monday, we recorded it like 2 days ago, and Riley was saying during it that he felt that Lala's child was Earthside. Like, you just felt that. And then she posted, and it said the birthday on it, and it was that day.
Yeah. And I wasn't outside of her house or anything looking in. I just knew that because I'm on a pregnancy timeline where I know the 9 months, I remember when she announced, so I knew it had to be pretty close to the same timeline of my baby daughter. But yeah, 9/3, I think she announced that her baby's born. But she's leaving that name that everybody's thinking about. She's leaving that for a later date. She hasn't told us yet.
Dying to know.
Yeah. We've already said what we think.
Yeah.
She said it has to be reminiscent of ocean, and it's going to fit like a glove with that name. So there's only like 6 things that are
Wild rivers.
Yeah.
Russian
Wild rivers.
Waters.
We said stream.
Knott's Berry Farms, Hurricane Harbor.
Harbor.
David Harbor.
Kind of like Hartford, right? Harbor. There's so many, but it's almost like it's almost not fun. It's almost not fun to guess because there's only like
Splash
7. Yeah, it's almost too easy. Like I don't want to just guess the right name. There's only 7 things it could be that are related.
Rapid.
Wave. We already said. What's it called when what's it called when an ocean gets that frothy water?
It's like nasty.
You know,
What about like
surf? Like
what about like krill?
Krill. Yeah. What's krill?
Lil krill.
Krill Kent. It's just kind of
That's cute.
Yeah, that's why it's not fun.
It's like a little shrimp.
It's like
Krill Kent.
Yeah, we're just basically revealing her name, and she doesn't want it revealed yet. It's like it's obviously one of those 15 things we just named. Krill, seaweed.
What's that thing when you go to the beach and all those nasty little critters?
Oh,
like,
right. Sea lice.
There's like the run, the like
Right. Kelp.
grunion run or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the
Little
Great Barrier Reef, right?
Grunion.
But sorry, I'm gonna. I just keep thinking of all these names that I know it's gonna be. You said krill. You said kelp. You said
barnacle.
grunion.
Barney.
Would you say grunion?
Yeah, grunion.
Lala, when this episode comes out tomorrow, Friday, we'll know what the name is officially. She'll do the big announcement. I think she was on Amazon Live announcing it. It might already be out.
Yeah, she did. I checked her Instagram today to see if there was an update.
She said it's going to fit like a glove with ocean.
She did spawn today, though, but obviously it was like someone did it for her because it was like it's full tune in and link.
I bet Lala got her fans back.
You do?
Yeah. I think that she lost some fair weather fans after season 11, but I'm sure the Lala heads came roaring back.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, her podcast must have listeners.
Right.
And people are still going on this Amazon Live. She didn't get fired from that. And then people are going to be very interested in her baby journey. It's kind of a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
I'm noticing that with my, having a baby now. I can do anything I want now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we said, don't take food out of my baby's mouth. I can
Yeah.
say whatever I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm curious. I mean, we still have no idea what the hell's going on with Vanderpump or what will become of it. But it does seem like the stragglers are hanging out a lot on set.
Yes. I have a bit of news that I gleaned upon during one of my breastfeeding times.
Yeah.
Someone, all the Bravo accounts are starting to speculate because there's so much, this is the time where people can get away with making a fake rumor or whatever. So like a bunch of the fan accounts I saw are like, word on the street is, it's like no one has ever said this, like, but it's like that they're scrapping the old cast and they're doing a bunch of new the wait staff at Sir and something about her, and they're starting a full new cast, and the Vanderpump Rules cast are going to be on a spinoff or something. And then James Kennedy goes, not on your, or I forget what he said. It was something.
He says like, you wish, or like,
he goes,
you act like or something like that.
It was something like, just like that. It was like,
he was like,
you
riddle
think
me
you
this.
know? He goes, riddle me this. If I don't know the truth, would you ... or something very like cryptic, but it really solidified for me that no one knows what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
But this is when the fan sites they like, this is when they, like, you and I could create an unsubstantiated rumor right now and people would latch onto it because no one knows anything. I don't think, I bet if you and I even asked Alex Baskin right now what the hell is going on, he would say it's a work in progress. We still don't know.
No, I mean, it is wild. I'm like, how much time do they think that they have? Like, because this is unprecedented, that they've never gone this long without filming.
We say this all the time, but we are going to see an unprecedented season. Mm-hmm. How the Vanderpump Rules cast exist in a Halloween, Thanksgiving, potentially Christmas environment.
If they get it going that fast.
Right.
You know?
It might even, it might not be. Someone said, one of the theories that I thought was like decent, even though I do want Vanderpump Rules to last as long as it can.
Yeah.
But if the quality, if for some reason it's broken fundamentally, I do think sort of a possibly stating that this is the final season, like a season 12, like we are going to pull out all the stops, like knowing that this is the end and like getting as much of the cast there to be a part of the final season would add a lot of like power instead of letting Vanderpump Rules end on sort of a limp note like it did with season 11. I mean, if Vanderpump Rules got canceled now or we decided it wasn't coming back, it would have ended on such a horrible note. I mean, most of the cast even agrees that was a really shitty end to the franchise. So maybe if they don't have much more longevity, I think that they should just declare a final season and let the cast go in knowing that this is the final season and this is a time to like resolve the storylines or instead of just maybe trying to keep this going forever.
I mean, that's also unprecedented like
to just announce
to
the final
no
season.
going in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's why people are always like, I think this is the end, that's it. And I'm like, the only thing is like even the worst season of Vanderpump Rules will be higher rated than most cities of Housewives. So they would never dump it unless it was truly impossible to produce.
Yeah. And
Which like it might be there or get there, but I'm like, they're certainly they're certainly gonna shit out one more season.
Yeah.
And then but the question is like, will they totally revamp it now or try one more time with like a little bit of a change?
Yeah.
Or,
And also,
you know.
and also you can make the case that Vanderpump Rules, I'm just debating my own point or whatever, but we just saw with The Valley, which just has like former Vanderpump Rules cast plus new cast members. The Valley, you could say, is flourishing now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so excited for season 2, and they're in the exact same era of life as the Vanderpump Rules cast. So why couldn't Vanderpump Rules continue longer if a successful season of another show is doing really well with half the cast?
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like, you know, what's weird. I feel like I always complain about that they're like the new Roni skews young, and like I'm like I want my housewives older, and I guess the concept of Vanderpump and the Valley is different, but because like the cast of the Valley seems older, than Vanderpump's original intention because it literally is, but they're still like younger or around the same age as like the young housewives,
Right.
But like it doesn't bother me in that instance. But for housewives, I'm like I want like 50 plus.
I know, me too. Yeah. So we could be entering a golden era of like where we would want to watch our cast if they were on a Housewives franchise.
Right.
So Vanderpump Rules, I mean, there's still so much juice there. I just don't I don't really fully buy the Alex Baskin thing where it's like we just want to give the Vanderpump Rules cast time to like adjust or whatever the rationale was for pushing it. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be weird. It's unless like, do you think that they'll get Schwartz's girlfriend in the mix? Like Sandoval's crazy girlfriend in the mix? Like,
You said what? I have to say, what's her name? Victoria
my God.
Lee Robinson?
uh-huh.
Victoria Lee Robinson. I was wrong. I said this is a normal person who I love and who I think is perfect for Tom Sandoval. I said that multiple times on record. I feel like she's trying to get in the mix a little bit too much. I mean, no, she can do whatever she wants, but I'm just saying she's kind of like Rachel, where they're like, stop talking about Vanderpump Rules. And Victoria Lee Robinson, I see she comments on every post. She's like, Rachel Leviss, you monster.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like she's obviously wants some of that runoff.
Right.
Like if she was just like Schwartz's girlfriend, I haven't heard one peep from
Right.
her. She doesn't care about it.
What we didn't talk about is Joe did that fan cam about her and Schwartz's relationship, like RIP. And then she posted a video the other day of her eating raw pasta in bed.
You sent that to me, and I just saw the screenshot, and I didn't, or what's that called? Cover image. I didn't click on it because I was in the middle of I was with my child, so I didn't see it. But I thought the first thing you said, I thought that was Joe grasping for a little bit more of the limelight, the last juice she could squeeze by showing a bunch of unreleased, unauthorized photos of her relationship with Schwartz. And then I missed the pasta stuff. What was going on with the pasta?
It's her laying in bed eating spaghetti raw.
Is that a callback to when she used to love to eat spaghetti and Olive Garden with Schwartz? Do you remember their iconic scene where they ordered? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember the breadsticks.
What was it? Was it just a video, a silent video of her eating?
Crunching raw spaghetti as a snack.
Oh, any commentary?
I think she was silent.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll watch that on the break, and then I'll be able to provide my 2 cents. But I felt that the Schwartz thing was just like, how much more do I have to work with? That has to be the end now of the Schwartz chapter of her life, I think.
I did see that Schwartz was at the summer house, which will be fun because he's been at the winter house, but he's never been at the summer house.
I don't think so. All I remember is when the Southern Charm boys came to Summer House.
So that'll be fun. It looks like, I mean, the dark horse always, not dark horse to us, but in the world, Summer House looks like it's going to be bomb as hell.
Tell me why.
I just feel it. I feel like Carla and Lindsay, it's going to be weird. Like Lindsay existing fully pregnant in
Yes.
this house. Like it's just going to be such a strange dynamic.
She's gonna be like, keep it down, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. And then Jesse and West back,
Yes.
like even more comfortable this time.
With the power of the fanfare.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna come back like thinking they're hot shit into that house.
Yeah. And then I think there's a rumor that Jesse's dating or maybe just hooking up on the show with the new girl on the show, like
Whoa.
Lexi or whatever.
What's her name?
I think it's Lexi.
Wow.
There was like people were doing a lot of sleuthing online that like a photo she posted overlapped with like a photo he posted like back in the city and stuff.
Kyle's DJing his ass off.
Yeah.
Amanda's swim line. I saw
bikini
photos from that.
line,
It looks
yeah.
it looks awesome.
Yeah.
They're riding high after last season.
And it looks like Danielle is still mingling.
And they have the best cast they've had in years. Since the Hannah and Paige introduction in season 3, they've got 2 new heavy hitters on the cast, in addition to the great cast members we already have.
Yeah.
So it's going to be I can't even imagine the power of Summer House.
And Southern Charm will be back as well.
Oh my God. I can't wait for Southern Charm. I have no clue what's going to happen.
I need our
this
under
season.
42s back.
I know. We're in a drought. We have to
Yeah.
admit it. We don't want to lose listeners, and we know. We look at the analytics every day. We know we lost about 40% of our audience, but we're in a drought. But when those under 42 shows come crawling back to us, it's going to be boom time for everyone.
Yeah. Rising tide lifts all ships.
Rising tides lifts all ships. I was going to say we didn't say tide for
A name option. Yeah. Okay, so what we do have is OC, which there was OC news being Johnny J and Alexis got engaged for reals.
Yes. Johnny J, you know him as John Janssen. He goes by Johnny J now. He gave Alexis. Did you see the ring?
I didn't. Is it huge?
Well, he already had a ring. She already kind of had a ring. Do you remember this
Right.
season? She kind of had a ring.
Promised.
It was a promise ring. And then I think in the episode that we're gonna watch tonight and then recap, she talks about going ring shopping with
Yes.
Johnny J already. Like they've been thinking about getting engaged since the minute they started, hooking up. But now I guess they waited, I guess, and then now this really happened, in real time as of a week ago?
Yeah. I saw that Jen Pedranti and I don't remember who the second housewife was. Maybe it was like Katie or something. Had gotten her Alexis an engagement gift that was like a baccarat crystal something or other. And I'm like, I don't even like. I guess they're just being nice, but I'm like, we shouldn't be celebrating this union.
Really? So
It's so cursed.
So well, okay. Let's do the positive and negative, pros and cons. Pro.
Yeah.
They found love at Quiet Woman. John Janssen loves Alexis. Alexis loves Johnny J. And they just kind of hit the fast pass on their relationship because they're banging it out every day, she says.
Yeah.
I think they have a mutual love of religion.
Okay.
And they just found love. They possibly found love, and they had this common denominator of the show. But John Janssen didn't necessarily get with Alexis potentially to create more fodder on the show. That's the pro version of this relationship. It's pure love. Now, what's the cons of this relationship? What's the nefarious version is that Johnny J
Is it pure evil?
pure evil. Not pure evil, but he wanted to get with another RHOC cast member he always loved being a cast member on OC, contrary to how he portrayed himself, which is that he was shy in the limelight and didn't want to be featured. But in actuality, once they broke up, he wanted to have another outlet to be a part of the RHOC universe.
Right.
And Alexis fit the bill completely.
Yeah.
And she also loves the limelight and popularity and fanfare that comes with hooking up with a OC figure.
Yeah. That said, though, because I'm like, obviously, red flag any man that's dated more than one housewife.
Who's the holy, not the Holy Grail? Who's the, this is Slade?
Slade.
Who is an OC. Like, Slade already set the
Yeah, I
the
think he
template
hit
for
like
that.
4.
Yeah.
But him and Gretchen have been married for 15 years.
I know.
Like, that's kind of crazy. They posted like an anniversary thing. I'm like, it's been that long? That
I
makes
can't-
me sick.
I can't believe it. I'm glad, though. He tried a few other housewives, but he landed on Gretchen, and
Yeah.
that was good.
Harry Dubin.
Yeah, but he's kind of like, you give him
He's
credit.
a true playboy.
He just sits at the polo. What's that?
The Regency.
The Regency, and he just waits on a bar stool, and people come up to him and want to have sex with him. So I don't think of him as trying to use relationships to get on Roni.
He's a good example of the fact that the New York ecosystem is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they're all hanging out after hours in the same places and like fucking the same people. And,
Yeah.
like, you know, that's why that show was so good. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, they actually did know run in the same circles.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll see. I hope that Alexis, whatever downfall comes out of this, is recorded.
You think they're cruising for a bruising?
Yes. Especially with all this crap. You know, we were off the past 2 weeks, but we are caught up. And the stuff about like releasing the footage of Shannon, like her participation in that, like this whole lawsuit thing, like I'm just like, it's so dirty.
Yeah. And also you could say that Alexis was kind of her mission on the show is to rehabilitate Johnny J's image for the fans.
Yeah.
But one thing in Johnny J's favor, which, you know, Johnny J, you listen to Turtle Time, so I'm going to throw you a bone here. I do think, and I think we already mentioned this, the $75,000 thing does adds a little cloud of mystery to the whole Shannon narrative that Johnny J was, what did she try to cast him as? A person that was getting a free ride, loafing off all of her cash, getting every bill paid for him. Then don't you think that the fact that he paid $75,000 to Shannon, I mean, doesn't that sort of negate that aspect that Shannon tried to paint of his character?
I believe her. Like, I don't think she was making that up all along. I think it was maybe like, you know, she paid for all kinds of shit, like where it was convenient, like of things that they did together, like trips. Like that's kind of what she keeps mentioning is like travel.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like she spent like tens of thousands of dollars on like flights and trips and travel. Like she sort of like sugar mamaed him on a lot of those experiences and didn't mind.
Yeah.
But then shit went down and she needed a lump sum that it sounded like he had. And it is like, if you're gonna give someone money that you expect back, you should put it in writing then. Because it sounds like she gave him a lot of money, then she needed a lot of money. He gave it to her. It was kind of like what Heather said was like, it was all in the same pot.
Yeah.
You know, like it was like,
I know.
the expectation was like, we're together, so it's not that big of a deal. Like,
but that's what I'm saying though. Like if you just put it into like with you and I, if you paid $80,000 on a bunch of trips and you spoiled me rotten, like to Paris,
Yeah.
you bought me a
Delta
first class
One.
seat, Delta One, you bought a bunch of in-flight entertainment for me, you got me headphones because I forgot my AirPods at home, you splurged,
Yeah.
you splurged on me. You spent $100.
and then I needed my facelift. And I
You needed
said,
the new laser. You needed a new
Tamara
the new
laser
Tamara
brow lift.
Judge. She's the first one to do that, by the way. This is a
to
experimental.
show us, yeah.
It's experimental surgery that she's doing. You needed that. I said, thanks. You've spoiled me rotten on every trip. I'll give you 80 grand back of the 90 grand that you spent on me. Would you ever tell my friends Riley's a fucking deadbeat? I traveled his ass all across Europe. I paid for him to go to the Louvre and, and then, but you knew that there was like maybe a $20,000 discrepancy between what you gave me and what I gave you.
Right. No, I think that's the thing. I'm very confused about the details. Like, was she talking shit about having paid for everything? Was her talking shit over the years? Or was she saying that in retrospect, like, I don't know.
I think it's just, so Johnny J, I don't think he's a saint. I think he's actually
No
pretty
angel?
awful. you're no angel, sweetheart. I actually think he's a pretty awful guy. He's one of those guys that appears like they're nice and like the perfect man, and then when you watch them too long, they show their true colors. The mask slips. Like when he goes, "Fucking Gina, fuck Gina." I'm like, okay, you're weird. But if a narrative was released to the world that you never paid a fucking bill, you're a deadbeat, you have no job, and you were getting your way paid for you, and then you knew that wasn't true because there's evidence that, you also, paid your fair share for a facelift or whatever, I would probably there would be an effort on my part to try to get the right narrative, even though he might still be a piece of shit.
Right.
Just that one aspect of his character you might want to correct.
So you're saying that's why he waited till they were filming to ask for the money back?
Oh, yeah. He
and
needs to tell
also
me.
refused to settle out of court?
He needs to tell you and me, Bravo commentators, that, hey, I'm a piece of shit, but not everything you heard about me is true.
Yeah. And it's also just strange that, Alexis has been tied to both lawsuits.
I know. I think I'm going to go betting. If I'm going to bet, we'll do a Turtle Time official bet here. Let's do $20. You versus me if you want to accept. $20. Their relationship lasts for over 5 years.
Wow. How long was she with Jim Bellino?
15? I have no idea, but long enough, right?
Yeah.
Did they have any children? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Alexis talks about
Everyone
her children.
keeps bringing up that she let her kid's stroller fall into a pool.
She did what?
She turned an eye at the pool and
No.
her twin stroller rolled
With
like
both of the babies
omens into the pool. They
Like-
were okay.
Like in The Godfather, when that stroller goes down those steps when Michael's killing all the rival mob bosses. She let a twin stroller. Who said this?
It was like a news story.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is, as a new father, that's one of the
Worst
one
case.
things I don't. That's absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So she said, "Hi, someone. I'm going to go in and grab a drink," and then all of a sudden her stroller started to roll into a pool with her.
Isn't it in Speed they hit a stroller but it's filled with like cans?
I have never seen Speed.
Really?
Yeah, is it good?
It's fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I might watch it just in case a Cinematrix clue says
oh yeah, you gotta
fast
think about that.
movie dealing with time 1990s.
Well, that would be fun for them to do a Sandra Bullock and
Oh.
Keanu one because they've been in like at least 3 movies together.
Right. Let's name them. What's that one called? The Winter House or the Lake House?
The Lake House.
Is
Yeah.
that them too?
Yep. Yep.
And then I can think of a couple
Speed
more.
2, Cruise Control.
They're both in that?
I think so.
Oh my God. They're kind of an underrated duo in terms
Yeah.
of films.
They're
that-
a good like present at an award show together because everyone would be like, "Woo!"
Woo! You two are in a movie together. Yeah, that is amazing. Well, anything else? Johnny
well,
J?
we were talking about OC, so we mentioned Tamara's fucked up laser face that she has posted an unprecedented number of videos with her skin charred off this week.
I think for me, I do enjoy seeing a little bit of behind the curtain on what
Yeah,
you go through for a
Treatments.
facelift.
yeah.
I know that it's like
It's a CO2 laser and a brow lift.
so you don't have to do the thing. I don't know anything about facelifts, but where you like cut into the face and you pull the skin up.
Well,
it
she
doesn't
got a
do-
brow lift, so there was an incision, but that's different than why her face is charred off.
So
It was
this-
2 things.
But this is not the surgical
No,
one.
it's like resurfacing
Really?
your face.
This is the one I'm gonna do. At,
You
like,
can do a way less intense. That's like worst case scenario. You could do a much more delicate peel or something like that
really. So this is
Absolutely.
in the realm of peel.
to the extreme.
This is like a peel facelift. It's not even a facelift.
No, it's not a facelift.
Oh, it's like
but
it's
she
just
separately got a brow lift. She got 2 things.
brow lift. Though is the more surgical thing.
Yes. But
What does that do?
I think it's just she said that I think it like raises your forehead, and she said she already had a big forehead, so now she's really gonna have a big forehead.
She wants a bigger one.
I guess so.
Then you sent me news that I was absolutely stunned by. I had not heard this. This didn't bubble up into my news feed at all. Vicky started her own podcast called Two Friends, or what's it called? Vicky, I forget. It's with Christian
Two
Grey
Vs.
Snow, two V's talking sleaze. It's Christian Grey Snow and Vicky. And Vicky said in her the podcast, she was talking about Tamra. She's going on a rant. She goes, Tamra should work on the relationship with her goddamn daughter. The show is the reason why their relationship never works, because her daughter begged her to not talk about her on the show. And then Tamra gets on the show and cries about the relationship. Vicky said, if I had a rift with my children, you better fucking believe I would do everything in my power to get that right, and I would do whatever it takes to get them back.
Yeah.
Accusing Tamra of not doing whatever needs to be done to have a good relationship with her daughter.
Right.
And then you tell me the aftermath. I've never seen anything like it.
I know. Tamra posted a video in full with her skin peeling off, all covered in scabs, sobbing. She's all swollen. And she's like, you win, Vicky. I can't believe someone would stoop this low. You can take my place on the show. I've had enough. I can't do this.
Yeah, that's almost exactly.
Which I'm like, I guess Kelly Dodd's the only other one that has been brave enough to bring up the estrangement.
But it's sort of like, I don't know what the right way to say this is, but you said it already, which is that Tamra is the one who goes the lowest with everyone. If she found out you accidentally killed someone, like if she was talking to Matthew Broderick or whatever, she would be the first one to bring up that he killed someone on the PCH or whatever when he was 25 years old. Like, she loves going for the one thing that would absolutely make you cry and want to die
she's
out on
like
camera.
the queen of the low blow.
So I kind of felt like this was a little, I hate to say it, but it felt very out of character. I've never seen Tamra like that. And I really don't know if I would fully say it hit Tamra like that. No one has ever said
Maybe
anything like that.
Vicky.
But she says horrible things about Vicky all the time. And Shannon. She just said in last week's episode, she keeps talking about how Shannon crashed into a house drunk. She says the worst shit to Shannon. Shannon's worst triggers right to her face to make Shannon go and cry. And then when she's a recipient of something, which I would say Vicky's rant was more of like tough love, like not really casting aspersions on Tamra's character, just saying what she would do in this instance and why doesn't Tamra want to do whatever Sydney needs to get, back in or good graces with her daughter. Right. I felt like it was not like, I don't think it was intentionally so mean.
Yeah, I all the comments on Tamra's video or any coverage I saw of it was like essentially 100% of the comments were like, you can dish it, but you can't take it.
Yeah,
like, get over it. Like, sick of you.
I've never seen Tamra not take it like that. And she said, you win, Vicky. And I was like, damn, Vicky won.
When Kelly brought it up in Ireland or whatever, she like started hyperventilating and like having like a full mental breakdown.
Right.
So she really like, it is not to be mentioned.
Yeah, but I'm like, okay, then there are certain big red buttons that all of your cast members have that you should never hit. If you have one gigantic one that's waiting for anyone to push it if they want to get to you in retaliation.
I know. Meanwhile, on the coming attractions, she's like shows up wearing an FBI hat to ask Jen about Ryan. And like,
seriously, absolutely awful. Like the fact that she's going against Jen Pedranti again after Jen had to forgive Tamra for treating her like absolute shit on her first season is crazy. One thing I wanted to say, because I don't know if we'll get to this organically, it's about Tamra. I was really surprised in last week's episode, the horrible, horrible Traitors episode, one of the sloppiest things I've ever fucking seen in my life. I was so surprised that Teddy got away with shoving Tamra in the pool on a cold, rainy night in her full outfit when they are presumably close friends.
Yeah.
And Teddy is, the reason why she's there is because
She didn't
Tamra...
seem to be mad.
No.
Heather was like, are you okay? She was like, should I call an ambulance?
She wanted to call an ambulance to get hyperventilating Tamra out of the cold, cold rain. But I was like, Tamra, you have so much ire and wrath for almost anyone who looks at you wrong. And then Teddy just fucking shoved you in a cold pool on a rainy night and ruined the rest of your night. And she didn't say fucking shit. I know. She was all tough in her confession. I was like, damn, like, what you
What's
just
that
let
dynamic about? Yeah.
You just let Teddy get away with that.
I did chuckle though when Teddy did the introduction and she's like, welcome to all the housewives and Vicky. And Vicky goes, she's a fucking bitch.
Yeah. It was iconic. It was so good. That was one of the scenes that they put in the trailer. Teddy got one. You got to give her a point.
She's a fucking bitch.
Yeah. That was great.
Heather's like, that was rude.
Yeah. That was so fun.
I forgot that I didn't when they brought up that they have a feud, I was like, what are they going to play? And it was squash that beef at BravoCon. I didn't think they would do that. Like, that didn't occur to me.
When they talked about Teddy and Vicky, they've introduced BravoCon into the world now on all Bravo shows. Like,
and the feud was that Teddy asked where Vicky was on January 6th.
Yeah.
And she's like, I was at my condo in Puerto Vallarta.
She's proved it. She proved it. She put a receipt of her going to a bar right next to her home on 1/6/2021.
I think the only confirmed insurrectionist is Soggy Flicker.
Right.
Yeah.
She's right. I can't get into Soggy Flicker. I was gonna say a bunch of stuff about her. I think she's the only one. We already talked about this, but there's that one guy from Mr. Show.
Yeah. The shaman.
Jay Johnston.
Yeah.
Shaman. The QAnon shaman. Don't get me started. That one guy who put his feet up on the desk.
Right.
And then Soggy. And then you allegedly said, jokingly, this is not true at all, but you said Rosie. I won't even say her last name because I don't want to get sued.
Right.
But that's
Teresa's
not true.
cousin.
Yeah, but that's not true.
She just would have loved to be there.
We were being silly about that.
Yeah, and then speaking of like weird D-list celebrities,
what's this last bit of news?
Update you.
Oh, right, good.
Because
okay.
we were hypothesizing about Dancing with the Stars that the scammer Anna Delvey will in fact be on this season wearing her ankle monitor.
You predicted that?
It's
because you told me about Anna
remember,
Delvey.
Why did this come up?
You told me all about Anna Delvey. You said, I don't know if it was about Dancing with the Stars, but it was a random pull, for one of these shows. But yeah, you were right.
And then we also talked about the pommel horse guy, and he's going to be on.
We talked about that?
Alongside Phaedra, who is killing it. She's just like, everyone wants her on TV at all times.
Yeah. And then you showed Hawk to a Girl.
They wish.
4 seasons, baby.
Me. Who's on Dancing with the Stars? Me.
And then who else? I forget. There was another viral
member of all time.
There was someone else who went viral this summer, but I can't remember.
Eric Roberts.
Oh, Eric Roberts is so great. Eric, I think I've told this anecdote before, but as a casting director, any project you cast on LA Casting or Breakdown Express, Eric Roberts submits himself. So you can get Eric Roberts in almost anything. It's amazing. So Dancing with the Stars, they finally got Eric Roberts, which is really good.
How long? I think I just saw Hawk to a Girl has some new opportunity. Like, I think she has a podcast now.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Her own podcast?
Yeah.
You already knew about that?
I think so, because we talked, I think, on this week's Patreon that's coming out, we talked about Hawk Tuah.
I saw that she was on Bill Maher. She was on West's show, but I saw that she's getting her own podcast.
Yeah, no, I think you said, I don't know.
I already said?
We talked.
It was like Barstool or something?
I'm not sure, but it's good. I haven't checked in on her since the original video, but if she's on Dancing with the Stars, I'm gonna watch.
Who is who was interviewing her originally? Do you think they're pissed?
I think it was like it was one, those TikToks, I don't know if you get them,
like Man on the Street,
where they fake like they're talking to someone for the first time. They go, "How much is your apartment?
Oh,
Can I get a peek?
Come on in."
And it's like, yeah, right. You had to know that person. I think it was one of those sort of staged Man on the Street.
Do you think that if she was on Dancing with the Stars, it would start with her going, and then rubbing her hands together, and then being like cha-cha?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I thought. Is there any songs that are about spitting or like liquid or fluid?
Lick it, split it, get all up in it.
Yeah, like I would assume it would
maybe like a Cardi B.
Yeah, I can
WAP.
imagine one, but yeah, maybe.
It's the 4-year anniversary of WAP. Can you believe that?
4 years?
Yeah.
That was the start of COVID, right?
Wow. Right.
Wasn't it?
Is that true? What year is it?
All right, well, that's great. Hawk Tuah, 4 seasons,
and
baby.
Beyond.
All right, well, it's good. An hour of news. Turtle Time did good. We covered all of the weekly news that you wanted to hear about and more.
Yeah.
And so why don't you and I take a little bit of a break? Oh,
yeah.
We're going to watch, like we did 3 weeks ago, you might not remember, but we watched the episode of Real Housewives of Orange County together.
Yeah.
And then we have the hottest takes you've ever heard in your life. So this is right off the presses. Our Turtle Time takes are guaranteed fresh after we watch the episode.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a certified turtle piss break, and then we'll be back to recap this week's episode of OC.
We be back.
We're back.
Hello.
I wanted to say that during our break, hour and a half break, you taught me Cinematrix.
You slayed it.
I started playing. I went on Movie Grid, like
Yeah.
you said, and I was able to identify 3 Owen Wilson movies.
What'd you pick?
It was easy as hell. It was a 3-word Owen Wilson movie. I said Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
It said a movie from some different decade. I said Darjeeling Limited. And then I think the last one was a movie from 1990 to some other time period. I said Cable Guy.
Nice.
So I got the full thing. I got to show you.
The full run.
I got the full Owen Wilson run. So I just wanted to say how sweet you were off mic that you actually did teach me. And it wasn't nearly as hard as the first time when you told me about it. It's not that hard.
No.
You're kind of competing with yourself to find
Yeah.
the most obscure movies.
And then sometimes they'll hit you with someone where you'll be like, oops, I don't know any of their movies at all.
Right. And you said it's like knowing those like straight to video, like Randall type geezer pleasers is like a gold mine. 'Cause
Yeah.
you get the 0% or 1%. So
Yeah.
I'm going to start
Totally.
playing. Thank you for teaching me.
It's fun. It's like addicting. And
Yeah.
I just do it like when I'm hazy, opening my eyes in the morning. It gets me thinking.
Yeah, thinking. Yeah, I love thinking about movies. So that's going to be a new thing I get to waste time doing.
I was trying to think of the Forrest Whitaker one today, and then I spent a lot of time trying to think of the movie where Sean Connery plays like a mentor, and I was like, because I was like, did he direct that? And I was like, no, it's just called Finding Forrester, and I was thinking Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, right. No, I was thinking, I was so wrong. I knew exactly where you were going. I was thinking like searching for Bobby Fischer or something. Do you know what
My
I'm talking
brain
about?
kept being like The Hunt for Red October, and I was like, that's different.
But he's in that too, Sean Connery.
Yeah, but it
Finding
has nothing to do
Forrester
with
is
Forrest
not about
Whitaker.
finding. That makes sense. Forrest Whitaker directed this Katie Holmes movie that I always think about. It's called like My President's Daughter.
Oh yeah,
Did you
that
ever
was
see
on
that?
there. I looked that up, and I was like, I never would have guessed that.
He
but you
directed
could have
it.
put that.
Yeah, I would have loved to because it's one of the
Well,
only
you can do
movies.
it retroactively tonight. You can do the Cinematrix for today.
I want to. Wait, so My Date with the President's Daughter is a different movie with the boy from Boy Meets World in it.
Okay,
But
there's just the President's Daughter.
yeah,
Yeah,
two iconic
that's where it
films.
gets
but-
sketchy. Is like similar titles. You
Yeah.
start to like, because it does have a drop down at least. Sorry, we're just going on and on about Cinematrix, but it at least like when you start to type it in,
You can get
it like drops down. If you had to blindly do it and like spell shit right and just enter it without confirmation, it would be really scary.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. If you just had to type it yourself.
Yeah.
I
Well, that's
think-
like one of them was Maggie Gyllenhaal today, and my friend typed out Donnie Darko, and it came up with like basically like Donnie Darko, like a conversation. It was basically like the director's cut with like special features and shit. So she got like 1% because it
Because
was
she
like
used the right-
mega rare.
That's so cool. Oh man. So it would seem more obscure because she's talking about this like director's cut.
Yeah, and then for the Sidney Poitier one, like last week, I typed in, because you know his famous line is like, "They call me Mr. Tibbs," which is from In the Heat of the Night, which is a famous movie. But I just typed in "They call me Mr. Tibbs," and there was a sequel called "They Call Me Mr. Tibbs."
So you got that?
And I was like, hell yeah.
That is amazing. Oh my god, that is so awesome. I was thinking all these daughter in the White House movies, they must have seen Chelsea Clinton in the White House, and everyone was going, the stories just write themselves. You know what I'm talking about?
We're due for another.
I know. No one wants to. Well,
There should
'cause-
be like a dark one about like a Trump-like son who gets into like an Uncut Gems or a Hunter Biden situation.
Totally.
That would be cool.
I think that concept needs to be revisited. I think
Yeah.
people went. Did you know? I didn't know this, but Bill Clinton and James Patterson wrote a book called The President's Daughter.
Really?
So they're trying to get in on the same, capitalize on that sort of Chelsea Clinton
What?
fever. Yeah.
Bill Clinton wrote like a novel?
Yeah, because he wrote actually. I think he's written 2 with James
I
Patterson.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like
Is that what I should add to my list?
I think so. I'm going to look into these a little more. I had no idea that he wrote something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird fucking movies no one's seen, I was telling you, I meant to bring it up earlier, but I went to a friend's house the other night and we wanted to watch like a crappy movie, you know, like to talk over and like laugh at. And she suggested this one that's available on Tubi called The Guest House. I had never heard of it. It's very bad. I'll preface this by saying it's offensive in many ways. It's homophobic, misogynist, poorly made, just not a good movie, but so absurd that I would recommend it for a fun night of like ordering a pizza.
Ironic viewing.
Totally. And she showed me the trailer and I was like, oh, that's Eileen Davidson's husband, because he like popped up in the trailer, and she was like, she's in it too, and she's fully in it. It is from 2016, which is a year after the Amsterdam episode we just watched, and I can't tell. I could do more due diligence, but I can't tell if she potentially looks younger in the movie, like, you know. I'm wondering if maybe they filmed it pre-Housewives and then it came out in 2016 because it's so low budget and maybe like it took a while. But I'm like, also Daniel Baldwin is in it.
Right.
Like the most probably bobo of all the Baldwins. What do you think?
I'm trying to think. Steven? Which one was in Squid and the Whale?
Oh.
Steven?
Good
one of
question.
the Baldwin brothers, who's not as famous as the main boy, Alec, he was in Squid and the Whale, and I think
That gives him street cred.
I think it was an underrated performance. I really like him in it. I don't know why he's in
I'm
it.
due for a rewatch.
Of Squid and
That's
the Whale.
a good Cinematrix.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Billy Baldwin. Or
so-
William.
wait, so that's... Is there Steven, William, and Danny? Did you say that Danny was the one? Or am I making up a Baldwin brother?
Isn't that what I said?
You said... Who's the one you just said was in Guest House?
I think I said Daniel.
Yeah, so...
I'm going to look up
Daniel,
Baldwin
Willie...
Brothers.
Baldwin Brothers show, they gotta get, you know that TLC show that he's doing with his wife?
Yes.
Alec? They gotta get those other Baldwin boys if there's no bad
It would be
blood.
like Wahlburgers.
Oh, I haven't watched that. Is that as fun as I would think
So yeah,
it
we
would
have
be?
Alec, Daniel, William, and Steven.
They're all actors. So
Yeah.
Billy is in Squid and the Whale. I actually thought he's good. And then there's one of them that was in Sopranos. They play themselves playing a role in Cleaver. I think that's
right.
That and Cleaver
could be
is
him.
kind of supposed to be like a really, really shitty movie, like
Right.
Guest House.
Right. But yeah, it's very dumb. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know that Eileen, I know she's a soap queen, but I would have expected
Yeah.
her standards to be higher. So it was giving like Favor.
It's really notable that in 2016, after a long run on soaps, and then at the height of her Beverly Hills career, that she would be in one of the worst looking movies, like one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It must have been a favor.
I showed Riley a scene where, so it's like a psycho thriller, like, you know, like Fatal Attraction, Swim Fan, you know, dime a dozen movies you can name, single white female, like where someone that you think
Psycho?
you can trust turns on you.
Yeah.
I feel like
No, Psycho's not like that because you
He's like
immediately
a
know he's kind of
weirdo.
odd.
he kills her ass like within minutes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But like The Roommate.
Oh, right.
What else? There's like so many, but it's a guy that moves into a guy's back house and his landlord starts to take interest in him, and then of course all those movies have to. Oh, I was thinking of Fear.
Oh, right. I've never seen Fear.
There always has to be animal violence to show what this person's capable of, and he has like a lab, like a dog, and he just they show him punching his dog, which
Yeah.
normally I would find very upsetting, but it's very silly.
It's done in a tasteful way where
You can't see anything.
you can't see him. He's punching him behind a garbage can, and the noises that they got this dog to make, I'm like, where the hell did the Foley artist get these dog screams?
And then there's the dog is just laying there,
Yeah.
so like you're supposed to think the dog is dying, but the dog looks like happy as hell. Like
Yeah.
it looks like they were just like lay down,
It wasn't,
lay down.
It wasn't like the anatomy of a fall dog.
No,
do you remember that
That
dog?
was an Oscar winner.
That dog was so good in that movie. Do you remember when we found out that Ariana Madix was in that really shitty like Vegas movie that we looked up on her
Yeah.
IMDb? It was
We
called like
need to
Vegas Bad Boys.
Do our due diligence and make our way through all of those.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, bottom of the barrel, like
Like I was
garbage.
thinking when I was watching The Guest House, I was like, this is giving a movie that Peter Madrigal would have made.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, I want to watch that La La one too, where they said that she was rude to everyone on set. I want to.
Yeah, David Arquette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
No, we have to go through all of those. But I just wanted to recommend that as a silly viewing. But don't get mad at me when it says things that are bad.
Is it offensive? Like the psycho landlord says offensive stuff, or just some of the premises, even the conceits of the film are in itself.
It's in its skeleton homophobic.
At its core.
And
Okay.
I told you already, the tagline is "Some skeletons should stay in the closet,"
Whoa.
which is clever but bad.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, everyone watch that movie. Go to Tubi. Tubi's free. You don't even have to
Tubi?
sign in.
I've heard on The Town. I told you I listened to that industry
Matthew
podcast, and
Bellini.
they say, yeah, Tubi's like killing the game. Like
Yeah.
Tubi's doing better than most streamers.
Free. They say nothing hits harder or rings more sweetly upon a consumer's ears than free.
Yeah.
So Pluto TV and Tubi are just ripping it up, and they have
Yeah.
a great selection.
Yeah.
All they have to do is run ads. That's why Amazon also has Freevee.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tubi. It's a hot girl Tubi summer.
It is.
I just extended summer
Whoa! Oh my
to
god!
give us more time to watch Tubi movies.
All right, what'd you say it was? Hot Tubi.
Hot girl
Tubi.
top Tubi summer.
Holy shit! All right, well, good. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. It was called Guest House.
The Guest House.
All right, well, good.
Yeah.
Speaking of houses, no, I'm just kidding. I don't want to say that segue, but we just got done watching Real Housewives of Orange County. This week's episode. It was called A Picture is Worth 1,000 Words. Is that what it was
Yeah.
called?
A picture worth 1,000
Oh,
words.
A Picture Worth 1,000 Words. And I think I wanted to ask if you wanted to just start with the crux of it, because I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can dip into the because I don't know. I mean, overall, the episode was really just kind of getting to a major point.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you. Well, I don't know. Do you want to take it normally? You want to just go through?
I mean, what do you want? What do you want to say? Top line?
Well, top line. I was just like, well, okay, no, we'll get there. We'll get there because I guess it will kind of step on our commentary. If you want to recap the full thing, maybe we can breeze through it.
I did want to say, so like it opens up with a bunch of clips of Alexis defending Johnny J. So we know that's like the world we're in, is like she's obsessed with defending his honor. That's like her whole reason for being.
Yes.
And then we get a little Terry and Heather moment. Heather reveals that Terry's mom has dementia.
I know, yeah.
Which is shitty, sucks. But that's kind of why they keep going back. One of the reasons they keep going back to OC is to like see her and meet with her. And their son Nikki is around, and I wanted to say that I'm still watching $1 Million Listing, and the newest episode, or at least the one last week, it's them buying their LA house.
Oh, really?
The one that they're like, we can see it in the hills. Like, that's Drake's house. This is our house. They bought it last week on $1 Million Listing, and their son is like, he's not representing them, but he's like part of it.
Okay, so that's the house that they're going to move into, that they were waiting for, that they could kind of see across the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's like, I think they got it it was listed at 20 million, and they got it for even less than that, but it's 8 acres. Like, it's like insane. And like, I love on these shows, like, of course, whenever you're dealing with people with that much money and like properties like that, it becomes immediately evil, because they're like, you need to get your permits in because LA just passed a law to protect wildlife. And if you guys want to build, you got to do it now.
Oh,
And
really?
like, they're basically like, fuck these mountain lions. We want like a moat or whatever. Like,
So they're like trying to get ahead of whatever like restrictions are going to come from their property. Wow. Okay. So they
I'm
had
like-
to deal with that kind of stuff?
yeah, but they got a good deal.
Good.
And on OC, they're saying that they do want to move to LA because it's more inclusive for their kids. And like, they show their kids a little more than they have been so far. And I don't know, Terry and Heather, they just seem on the same page. I like them. I think they're a strong partnership.
Yeah, they were really sweet.
I'm into it.
And I don't care. I can't say I don't care anymore that they brought that TMZ. They paid for that TMZ reporter to get into Disney.
Done? Will it come up again, or will Shannon take the rest of the heat?
I think it's officially done, and I have to move past it personally because I really love Heather. I love Terry, but and I was sort of bogged down by the fact that they paid for that TMZ reporter to get into Disneyland with them. But I'm not going to think about it anymore. I still love Terry and Heather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just picturing the photographer like on Splash Mountain, with like a telephoto lens.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just in the beginning, it does the whole like check in with everybody thing. But the only thing I'll mention is that Tamra's daughter Sophia is like all up in the show now.
Yes, I mean, it almost in a lot of Tamra scenes, kind of happy to be there.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, we already discussed. So like, it's because she's 18 that she's allowed to be on the show all of a sudden.
Yes,
but it seems like she's particularly interested. Like, she was on last week. She has a scene at the beginning here. She FaceTimes with her on the trip.
They did that driving thing. They did tattoos. So she's like a prominent
like she's
fixture of
into
this
it.
Yeah.
I watched an interview and she's like a musician, I think. Like she has like an electronic band or something. So maybe she like kind of wants to get her name out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Like maybe we'll be seeing a performance coming up.
Yeah. We get a scene where Heather packs her suitcase with tissue paper. What did you think about that? Would you ever do that?
Good question. I thought it seemed a little time consuming, like she said. And the true purpose of it was that your clothes, they don't get those hard creases like they would if they were in a suitcase, right? That's what she's trying to avoid.
Yeah.
I thought it was a nice, fun little quirk to learn about Heather, but I don't think I'm going to implement it.
No.
What about you?
I would only do it if we're talking sequins or something like that, because anything that would get snagged. Other than
you
that,
would do for that?
No.
Okay, so just sequined stuff.
Right.
Okay.
We get Jen has her court date coming up, so she has to join the group separately. She FaceTimes with Katie and they bond about like child support and divorce and all that shit, which I'm glad she has an ally there, because that whole situation seems like it sucks.
Jen's super bummed out this season. I mean, she's probably secretly really sad last season, but she's really going through the divorce. Like, it's taking a toll on her this season. Like, she seems very, very upset, and I guess she's trying to get more child support or alimony from Will, her previous husband.
Yes. We get a private jet to Sonoma, which I can only imagine is a very short flight.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they only do private jets when it's like 30 minutes.
Right. And then there's kind of Heather likes doing seating arrangements. Like, she really loves doing that. So she puts it's Alexis and Shannon are going to be on this trip together. So she puts one near the pilot's chambers. She puts the other, I think Alexis, near the back, near the toilet. And then, because everyone thinks it's very remarkable that Alexis and Shannon are on the same flight, they start to spread the news. I thought this was interesting. Shannon, right before they got on the flight, looked at a photo of John Janssen and Alexis on the red carpet, an Oscar red carpet.
Oscar
it was like
party?
It was like, what movies were getting Oscars last season? What won?
Poor Things.
Yeah, it was like the Poor Things red carpet. He was dressed up like...
it was like they were with Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yorgos Lanthimos was in the thing. She was dressed up like Emma Stone, and they looked great. But there was one little detail askew for Shannon. He's wearing his goddamn Ferragamo shoes that Shannon bought for him pre-breakup.
Yeah.
And Shannon says a little sort of like to her, under her breath, to Gina, Emily, anyone who will listen. She says, I guess John's still wearing those Ferragamo shoes that I got him. And then they immediately spread from the front of the plane to the back of the plane. And so Alexis knows, oh shit, Shannon couldn't help herself but start to talk about the John Janssen shit.
Right.
But it was kind of like, I felt like it was shitty of them because they're kind of getting everybody riled up right before a trip where Alexis and Shannon have to be together.
Right. Yeah. But I get that. Like when you look at a picture of your ex and you have any relation to anything in it, you're like, well.
Like you're still wearing that belt I got
Yeah.
you. Or you still
Yeah,
like doing
you're
your
allowed
hair.
to do that.
Of course. I liked it. She was like, I did Johnny J's hair like that. He never used to wear it before he met me. Like stuff like that.
Right. And then Gina is like saying under her breath, like, no, she says it to in the car, I guess.
Yeah, they land.
Flashback.
Yeah, it's like they land and then they immediately go to two separate cars,
Right.
so that Alexis and Shannon don't have to be that close.
Right. And Gina goes, all right, because Alexis is saying about Shannon, like, quit talking about him, get your own thing, talk about something else.
Yeah.
And Gina's like, all right, whatever, but like, you cannot release those videos you've been talking about.
So we haven't talked about this because we haven't, we didn't talk about the last 2 weeks. So there is, I mean, the thing that blew my hair back over the last 2 episodes, the only thing that I think is notable is that there are apparently videos that Katie first brings to light because Alexis is telling anybody behind the scenes of what these videos are, and Katie brought it up on camera. There is apparently in the video, on the Ring camera footage that John Janssen has, he says that his daughter was like outside or something and could have possibly been hit by Shannon's car when she was driving drunk.
Right.
That's what you ascertained from
There's
that, right?
so many details to be dissected from that evening.
Yes, it's more complicated than I originally thought. I thought she got drunk as hell, smashed into a house, got out Archie bloody as hell, and started to pretend like she was walking her dog, and then got arrested. I didn't know it was John Jansen's house.
Oh.
But it was.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Yeah.
So where was she leaving to where then she drove like hell to John Jansen's house?
My vision from what I originally understood was that they got in a fight at his house. She was drunk. She was pissed at him. They were yelling at each other. And so she got in her car and tried to screech off to like make a scene to be like, I'm fucking out of here.
Like
and
a
she
bat
tried
out
to,
of hell.
Yeah, she tried to be like, "Arr!" And then of course, because it's Shannon and she was drunk, she was like, "Ah!" Like she tried to be a badass and like be like,
But
do a
then spiraled.
Tokyo drift. And then she immediately hit like the bricks of a house like across
So
the street.
it wasn't John Jansen's house.
She didn't hit his house, but she was leaving his house.
Okay, so she left his house. For a second, she does do a perfectly executed Tokyo drift if you watch the footage. But then, like you said, she spirals out of control, and then she smashes into a house that's near John Jansen's
like
house.
kitty corner.
So what he's saying is on his Ring footage, I guess when that has to be when she's leaving.
Yeah.
She might have almost possibly just not murdered, but what's that called? Manslaughtered John Jansen's daughter.
Adult daughter.
Adult. This is not funny. It's funny to put it this way, but and then so horrible. It's like so horrible. It's like so out of the realms of all housewives shit. It's like it's horrible.
I know.
So it's
Everyone's
like,
okay.
Right, everyone's okay, but it's like it does make it worse, and everyone is talking about how this is going to ruin Shannon's life.
Right.
And Alexis is kind of holding this over as a threat. Johnny J and Alexis, which I was saying good things about Johnny J. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking earlier. They're holding this over Shannon's head as retribution for her slandering his character, and he's basically like, if you're not going to pay the $75,000, we're going to release this footage of you almost like killing my daughter in your drunken ride before you crashed into a house.
What could the footage be? We know that she was drunk, she drove, and she crashed. So, like, what is so incriminating about, like, the footage of that?
Well, he has Ring footage apparently that's not the footage that we saw from TMZ.
No, sure, but I just mean, like, we know what she did. So, like, what... Unless she's like, bitch, I'm gonna run you over and kill you.
So
like,
you mean... It all still falls under drunken mess, nightmare behavior. Even if the John Jansen's daughter had to jump out of the way of Shannon's car, it still should be painted with the same brush as Shannon was drunk.
I mean, unless there's some like really interesting turn of events, it kind of just seems like the same story.
I'm only laughing because this is uncomfortable to talk about, but don't you think it would hit us hard if you did see the footage where like possibly John Jansen's daughter like had to jump out of the
She did like a Matrix. She like defied gravity.
This is so horrible. When Johnny J listens to this, he's getting.
Why was she there, the daughter? You know,
I think
like
it's
I need more.
I need to
information.
know. I honestly, I think that this is the only. Well, I don't know. Like, do I want to hear John Jansen's side of it if it's going to make Shannon look even worse, or do we just say Shannon made a horrible drunken mistake and we're starting to forgive her as the audience, and everyone in her life is trying to forgive her,
Right.
because she has done a good job of being accountable and showing the aftermath of her horrendous decision
Right.
this season.
Yeah.
So I don't know necessarily if it does paint a worse picture if you happen to know that she almost committed manslaughter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of like it's like if you don't want your name in the news, then like go away.
I agree. So my question now, which I have to say now before I forget, is that when they try to tell us why Johnny J needs to reclaim his name, I don't hear the really specific evidence of how Shannon has slandered him over the years.
No.
Up until this point, we already said Shannon was Johnny J's biggest defender, almost pulling an Alexis for the last 4 years, or however
I
long.
know, that's the thing that's kind of scary is like he dates like women that are like soldiers for him, you know?
Yeah, like he like tests their loyalty. But then Alexis tries to explain what the things are, the slanderous accusations, and it's that at some point she says this, it's that Johnny J didn't pay for anything, which is like, really? That's like a narrative that you have to counter with all your might, that you were a potential deadbeat. And the other one is like that she accused him of bordering on being an alcoholic. But it's like anyone, if you had a messy relationship or whatever, and someone brought up your drinking, you'd be like, you drank every night with me. If you have a problem, I have a problem.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand at all the defense of Johnny J, which is like, just let him reclaim his good standing. It's not that bad, anything that Shannon said so far.
No.
And she's purposefully not saying anything that would even be more incriminating against him, it seems, up until the end of the episode.
Right. Yeah. No, it's like not worth all of this at all.
Yeah. So do you think, is it just that Johnny J is a little bit of a, what's it called when you love fame?
Fame whore?
Is he? Is it just that Johnny J
wants the limelight?
Does Johnny J want the limelight? Did he want to be on the OC? Like he loved being a figure on the OC, and then when he started to have anything that was said against him bad, once him and Shannon broke up, he had to immediately make sure that his standing on the OC was cast in a more favorable light with Alexis. Is that what he's doing?
I guess, or it's like it's just storyline, like.
But Johnny J wants.
Apparently.
Oh, Alexis. Alexis is also feeling this, right? Because she would have nothing else to talk about, and she wouldn't be cast on this show if she wasn't talking about Johnny J and his relationship to Shannon.
Right, like they're coming up with this salacious storyline.
So Gina does it real solid by just saying, Alexis, for the love of God, please do not ruin Shannon's life by releasing those videos.
Yes. Then they go stay at this cute little place called Dawn Ranch in Guerneville, which I'm like, I kind of want to go there. It looks cute.
It looked beautiful. I loved it too.
It looked
I thought
quite
it was
ideal. Although everyone's being very dramatic, pretending that it's rustic when it looks very nice.
Yeah, Katie kind of does some like what's that great outdoors humor?
Yes.
Where she's like, there's a spider in my cup.
Yeah. And then they make a big to-do that they're getting drinks at the hotel or whatever, and Shannon orders, she's like, well, we're on vacation, I'm gonna get just one drink. Like she has to like justify it. And Gina's like, come on, like Tamara's here, she's gonna like give you hell for it. I don't even drink, so like half of this group, like you could just stick with me, you don't have to drink so that people don't give you shit. But and then it's revealed that like the night that Johnny and Alexis did that red carpet, that Shannon was found somewhere getting a drink, like at a bar.
So she was at someone said it was at the bar at the mall, like the Nordstrom's. Which one has a bar? Nordstrom's or Macy's?
Yeah.
Doesn't Saucy say she likes to have a nightcap at Macy's?
Oh, no, it was no, not Barney's, not Saks, Bergdorf's.
Bergdorf's?
Maybe.
The Bergdorf's bar, and someone said that she got the TMZ alert, and they were like filming Shannon at the time, and they got the precise moment while she was liquored up, drunk as hell, of her reacting to them on the red carpet.
But she said it was like a Topo Chico and crayon or something.
Yeah, she said that was absolutely not the type of glass that they would put a drink in. It was a Pellegrino and cranberry, she says.
Yeah, and Shannon's like, today is the deadline for the money I owe him, and I offered half.
Yeah.
And she's like waiting to hear back.
Yeah, I don't really understand. I don't understand that. Like, you just say, I'm not going to pay all of it.
Well, that's what like settling is. Like, you're like, meet me in the middle, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
If you want to like not go to court,
okay,
which will
so
cost you more than half.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, so Shannon says that she feels like this is extortion. And I think that there's more. I mean, I don't know if it's like you can't legally say that, but when it gets towards the end and when it's like they're hanging over her head is the fact that he might release the ring cam footage. The reason why she eventually like agrees to give the full amount is because she doesn't want those videos released.
Right. I know. I'm like, what's
almost,
like the legality of that?
Pretty cut and dry.
Right.
It's like she found out that that's what they were going to do if she stalls this any longer. So she immediately paid what he demanded.
Right. Then we get like a little background. They don't really go into it, but Heather says that she specifically invited Alexis because she knew that this cause was special to her because it was the charity is family equality, and they didn't explicitly say it, but I do remember before Alexis was back in the headlines or back on the show, I remember like the only news item I had seen in the past like 5 years was that she was supporting one of her kids. I don't remember what they're like how they identify, but it was something about her supporting her kids no matter what. And I was like, oh, that's cool, because I wasn't sure that would be the case with her, Christian background.
Yeah.
So I remember that being like a +1 for her in the past, and they kind of allude to it, but they don't really get into it. Maybe like her family doesn't want to get into it, but I kind of wish they would, because like she needs a
non-Johnny J storyline.
Yeah, that would be like, that would make her look good. It would bond her to Heather. Like they just kind of brushed over it, but they did mention it.
I don't think Alexis is doing so bad this season. I mean, she only has one note to sing about Johnny J.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she's not like as like, I don't know, she doesn't seem so out of her depth with all of them. It seems like she's making an organic friendship with Katie. It seems like Jen Pedranti likes her enough. Like, she's doing okay. I do think she would really benefit from switching up what she serves and not being so Johnny J.
Yeah,
centric.
the only other thing she has is like her mom dying, but that's like so upsetting that it's like not like, I don't know.
I bet Big Jim Bellino is still watching this season, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
What was that Big Jim Bellino news item that we heard that like he was at the Quiet Woman or whatever, and he said something like, don't you remember me? Did you tell me this?
Yeah.
He was at a restaurant.
He owns a restaurant.
Big Jim's.
Yeah.
And he goes, don't you all remember me? I was from season 3 to season 7 on that show.
Yeah, it was like Johnny Rockets or something. But
yeah.
So they go for a wine tasting at Equality Vines because Heather has done a line of champagne to benefit the charity.
And each one is a different ode to her children. Right. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Like each one had the flavor profile of her children.
Right.
Right? Was that
like, what would that mean?
I'm not sure.
She's like, this one's a little earthy. This one's a little like effervescent. And then Jen joins because she didn't fly on the PJ. She joins because she had to go to family court.
Yeah.
And it was really sad because she was saying that the last time her and her ex were in that exact courtroom was when they adopted their son.
It was 2019. I could not believe up until that point they were doing so well that they adopted a child together.
Yeah.
And then COVID probably came through.
Yeah.
Breezing through their lives, and then I didn't realize how recent this all happened in Jen's life.
Right. And she was like, it didn't go how I wanted. I only got $6,000 a month, and she has 5 kids, and they were all like, oh my God, like that's horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
so what? That's only like $1,100 per kid.
Yeah. Something like that. And then the other ladies are at the spa.
Yeah.
It's revealed that Gina has gut issues, which I'm like, I don't need to hear about that.
I know. They kept the audio in of whatever her gut
Gurgle.
was doing, and sounded rough.
Yeah.
She like needed to get out of there immediately, but she kind of stands tough. She kind of like
I know. I'm like, maybe skip the massage, you know?
She says this makes me want the massage more. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Well, I guess, yeah, she said she's backed up. Which I'm like, why do I need to know this? But
Right.
And then she reveals, they're all chatting. She reveals that she's gotten a new dog.
Yeah. Well, I guess Travis got one. Okay, so how I imagined it in my mind when I was watching this was that Gina got to keep their family dog because it was probably hers first. But then now that Travis is out of the house, the kids and everyone missed that dog experience, and they're not going to just constantly usher the dog back and forth. So they
Right.
got one too.
Right.
And it's like two separate households have dogs together, but one stays.
It's like sad.
It's really sad. I don't. It sounds like Gina didn't think all of the ramifications of this decision, and Emily even sort of prods at some point, being like, "Did you not factor some of these things in that this would be happening?" And Gina was like, "No, I didn't."
Right.
And
So-
they're staying there a lot too because she's doing
Right.
construction on her house. So she's back in Travis's house, and all the kids are together
Right.
again.
So regardless of kicking them out, they're still staying together. Instead of like the money that she could be spending on construction, if she actually was interested in staying together, so maybe she could have spent that money on finding like an alternate living situation.
Or build a shed out
Exactly.
back that
An
sort of has
ADU.
Travis's. Yeah, that has Travis's family.
It's just like 3 bunks.
Yeah.
And, yeah. But she said that her dog is named Meatball for her culture, and the new dog is named Clover for his culture. I was disappointed to hear it's another doodle. I feel like every time I open my phone, a new Bravo person is getting a purebred animal, including Paige. I'm looking at you. She got a ragdoll kitten. I'm like, just rescue a fucking cat. How hard is it?
I didn't want to ever say anything ever in my life, but I knew that Paige's cat must be. I've never seen a cat look like that anymore. It was just such a beautiful cat. I was like, where the
that
hell?
breed rocks. They're so lazy. They sleep like at all times.
How do
They're
you get
quite
that?
ideal. You buy one.
I mean, how do they breed them so that they're just a sleepy, cute?
That's just how the rag dolls roll. If you guys are big TikTok heads, there's a cat named Junie that's a rag doll, and she's so funny. Like, she just like passes out like at all times.
Oh, that's so cute.
Like, she looks drugged.
Would you ever see a rag doll at your local rescue?
Maybe. I mean, sometimes there's just negligent owners that give up purebred animals, and then you get to luck out and get the best of both worlds.
Like,
you know?
maybe they didn't know they had this diamond in the rough.
Totally.
Wow.
That's like, I love labs. Like, I have to rescue animals. Like, I need it to be a rescue.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I happen to come upon a chocolate lab or a yellow lab that needed a home, that would be best case scenario.
How about you buy one? I'll take care of it for a little while, and then
Leave
I'll
it by like a
conveniently
dumpster
conveniently leave it by a dumpster.
for like 30 seconds.
I won't
oh
even.
my God.
The leash will touch the ground for 15 seconds, and then you swoop in, and we'll never say
If
how.
I was a celeb, that's what I would do.
Really?
I would be like, oh no, like I just found this dog.
It's like this beautiful show dog.
Well, that's like Bryn on Phony Roni.
Oh, right.
She's like, I tried so many times to adopt a rescue, and I kept getting denied.
Yeah,
And I'm
they
like,
wouldn't let her have one.
What?
What was that for? Did she have an
She
animal?
said she now has a dog that was
Oh.
from a breeder, but
I
she said she
tried
tried really hard.
I tried my hardest. They just wouldn't let me have one. It's like they
Like,
would
we
give
might
you-
have a problem here then. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with your lifestyle?
I think Gina gets into it a little bit, but this kid dynamic,
Yeah.
like, this must be very hard on the 7 children or 6 children that are involved. Like,
It's
they
a
went
full
from
Von Trapp.
total Von Trapp. They went from living a life in one house, and then now they're completely separated. Like, they must miss their siblings so much.
Right. I know. It's like strange that she didn't think it through more when that many people were affected.
Do you like Gina more this season?
A little bit.
I think
actually.
she's really showcasing. I mean, I asked that because I I'm not just saying this because she commented on a Turtle Time clip, but I do think that she's showing a little more of her personality and a little more of her life this time. And even though I don't necessarily agree with all of her decisions, I'm learning more about Gina, and I think I find her a little more endearing.
Yeah.
The stuff I didn't like about Gina was the fake storyline garbage that she tried, like against Jen Bedranti for the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, that sucked.
I hated everything that she tries to do to appear good at this show. But I like her, just like her as a person more. I think they're showcasing her more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, good.
Then we hear that Shannon's lawyer calls. Johnny J did not accept her offer, so she will have to go to court.
Yes.
Emily is like, dog, like, it's not worth it. Like, you're hanging on by a thread. Don't do it.
Is any part of this, it's not about, it's the principle. It's not that Shannon is in dire straits financially, right? It's just,
she's like, I will not pay his ass, because in the last episode, what her deadline was to either like meet the demands or set a payment plan. So like, even if she didn't have the money, she could like work it out to like owe him at whatever pace. But she's like, fuck you. Like, I think that's why, like, she's like, if you want to say that I owe you $75,000, then let's like deduct all of the shit that I paid for. So let's call it half then. Okay. If like, if we're going to get into nickel and dime territory.
So it's not that she cannot afford $75K.
Right. It's like when like you get a round of drinks and you're like happy to cover it, and then someone Venmos you requests and you're like, oh, well, guess I'll request for the shit that I got then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My God,
You're like, I was happy to cover it, but if we're going to get into it.
Yeah. What friend do you have like that?
It happens like all the time.
Really?
Well, like over the years.
I don't have a lot of money, but if I was rich, I would be giving people rounds of drinks all the time. I'm not like that. I don't want to, do all the Venmo shit and stuff.
No, it sucks, but it has to be like reciprocated.
Right. Totally.
And so I feel like that's why she's so pissed off, because she's like, I was like wheeling and dealing, giving you money all the time. And now all of a sudden when you give me money, it's like a contractual, like I owe you.
Yeah. And he wants this on camera. He purposefully wants this storyline on this season because it does exactly what it did to me, which is cast doubt upon the Shannon narrative that she paid for everything. That's what this is for, to show that he paid her so much money that now he's going to go to court to get it back.
Right.
They all sympathize in this spa room. I thought this was kind of nice. Everyone is rallying around Shannon because they can tell how hurt she is by this. I mean, she's been put through
I'm so relieved that it took this turn. I really wasn't into or ready to have everyone say she was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I hated
only
it.
Only Tamara went for that side of things, but Gina and Emily have been extremely supportive, Heather as well, and they really rally around her in this scene. And is this, I don't know if we already got to the point where they start to talk about the video, or there's a scene in between it?
Well, yeah, I'll just say really quickly, there's they try and touch for a second on Heather versus Katie, and Tamara brought up that she's like, I think Gina's behind it. Oh, right. And Katie's like, Gina's the one who told me to bring it up, and now she's like throwing me under the bus. And I'm like, we cannot revisit this. No one cares. It's fucking boring.
Yeah, and it's I think we said this a couple weeks ago, but it's a storyline that like no one cares about the details, and it's already convoluted as it is, and we don't want to spend any more time learning more about this to get what really happened. But I do believe that Katie, as a newbie, didn't properly know how to handle a storyline on the show. Yeah. And Gina gave her some bad advice. And then the minute that Heather caught wind, Gina wanted to immediately distance herself against Katie for her relationship with Heather. And Katie felt completely left in the lurch on this storyline. I do agree that Gina teased this thing out and is so much more adept at how these shows go, and Katie got left in the lurch. Right. That's what she's kind of saying, I think.
Yeah. And then Tamara, I think, brings up to Alexis, or like they're talking to Alexis about the lawsuit and the money, and they're asking her for clarity, and she's like, I told him to settle. It's not worth it. Like, let's just move on. And she said that Johnny J said, fuck no.
He said, fuck no. I'm going to sue her for all she's worth. And she goes, I understand why he would do that. This is when she says what I already said. She goes, she absolutely ruined his reputation around town.
Okay.
There's people at the Quiet Woman that are talking shit. There's people at Mozambique talking shit. And
Javier's.
even the host at Javier's has been talking about Johnny J, how he doesn't pay for shit. And then that's what I'm saying. I was like, Johnny J, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much worse that's been said about almost everyone on any of these franchises. That's all you're...
Also, it's like more embarrassing that you're dating another OC housewife and that you're like suing this other woman. Like, that's more embarrassing.
You thought, I mean, we said this at the time. We both gasped, but you thought they looked both incredible at the Oscar red carpet, right?
Stunning. And then, back at the spa, Gina, she is acting like she let it slip, but I can't imagine that you would do that accidentally.
Yes, but they are, I will say, for a franchise, for these, she is tiptoeing around it in a way that makes me know that she doesn't fully want this out. Katie is the only one that said specifically what this video is, and that's because she's new and doesn't understand how like damaging it is to reveal that big of a bomb, on the show, that saying it on camera is equatable to calling someone out about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Gina, you're right though. I don't think that Gina had to mention the video.
Right. So she's like, they're talking about like, it's not worth going to court. This feels so vindictive. Like, why are they doing this? And then Gina's like, especially with the video thing. Yeah. And Shannon's like, what video thing? Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah. And they're like, well, apparently there's ring cam footage of you like almost running over his daughter. And Shannon just like immediately starts sobbing and she's like, he keeps just trying to take me down. Yeah. And they're all like, it's giving extortion. Like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And they're like, you need to pay him whatever he wants. Like, this is serious.
So Shannon, I think, like went outside, right? And immediately
she's skipping her massage.
Called called her lawyer and said, pay it all. And it's like, it's explicitly
which like I get, because you're like, if now we're gonna get into like evidence territory and like a mudslinging, like fuck that, like if it was just gonna be like a forensic accounting of what I paid for versus what he paid for, that's annoying, but that's kind of like stupid. But if it's gonna be like, I have footage of her acting a fool, like I don't even... Is that even relevant or allowed in something where it's strictly about money? Like, would that... Or he's just saying he would do it in the press.
He would just do it in the press. Yeah. He's like, if you shall slander my name, then look what I will do upon you.
It's just so fucked up.
But it's not really equatable.
No, and it's so fucked up that, like, an adult man... I know that we usually don't go with the argument that, like, this affects my kids. But, like, something like that is, like, horrifying. And, like, he was... dating this woman for years. How long was it? Like 5 years or something?
I think so.
And like lived with her daughters and like knows her daughters, and he's like willing to do that. I think that's so disgusting and shows that he's like a true piece of shit.
I think so. I think it's indefensible.
He's horrible.
It's not equatable at all with what Shannon has said about him, which is that she picked up a couple dinner tabs and paid for an all expenses paid trip to Paris. Or whatever. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to show footage of you drunk as hell, possibly almost hurting my daughter. It's like, I can't believe it. But it did, like, it came out already on the show without him even having to, like, show it. Right. It's like, it's already Shannon's worst nightmare. But yeah, she nips it in the bud and she pays the piper here. Right.
And then, is it Katie is talking to Emily and is like, how close are you with Alexis? Like, could you talk to her about like them not doing this? Like, Emily's like, I don't think that Alexis understands the level of harm that they're doing.
Which is probably true, because Alexis has seen Shannon sort of maybe like indignant or yelling like at that dinner, but I'm not 100% sure if Alexis has witnessed the full-blown like breakdown that Shannon has had over and over about how this is hurting her life. And she may think that this is sort of par for the course for this type of show. So I think that would be a beneficial conversation for Emily to have, to say,
Yeah.
hey, this is realer than you think. And Shannon is so fucked up, you know,
Mm-hmm.
over this. And that is like, you might potentially ruin her life. And all in the effort of redeeming Johnny J's name.
Right. And then there's like some other here and there things, but ultimately this is all leading to Shannon in her robe comes to Heather's room. Heather has a glam squad. She's ready for dinner, ready to go. And Shannon shows up. Like everyone else is getting ready, but Shannon is clearly not going out. Like she is like,
What tipped you off?
she's wearing like little eye gels. She's wearing a robe. She looks like absolute shit.
I do like that she went to Heather with this. I was like, you know, you're calculating. That's a bad word, but it's like you're thinking who is your scene partner for
Right.
this scene when you go to Don Ranch, and it's because it's Heather's trip.
Right.
I'm going to go tell Heather, but it does have the most impact, I think, telling it to Heather.
Yeah.
She's not going to tell it to Tamra. It wouldn't have the same
No.
impact with Gina or Emily.
No, and I think it's like under the guise of saying like, I'm not
This
coming.
is why I'm not coming to
Yeah.
the dinner.
Yeah, and like you weren't privy to everyone else she was just with knows
Yeah.
what's going on and Heather doesn't. So she's like literally shaking, like so upset.
Yeah.
And she's just saying like, I am not gonna lie about, you know, she's like, I paid for a lot of shit for the first half of our relationship. Like that is true. And I'm like, yeah, like I don't think she's like making that up. It's so like a frivolous detail. Like why would she lie about that? Like
Yeah.
what would the goal be of her lying about that?
Yeah, and it says more about Johnny J that this hits him to his core, that he can't let this lie stand on the show.
Right.
It's like it doesn't really sound that bad at all. It sounds
Right.
like she was happy to do it until he got his windfall of cash from selling 1% of his company or whatever they were
Right.
talking about.
Right. Yeah, because she says the first half of their relationship. So like obviously something changed at a certain point.
But
and
Shannon
then,
did like, in a way though, you could say the same about Shannon in terms of like airing out grievances. Like Shannon didn't necessarily have to make us privy to that aspect of their relationship. I'm not even sure why she did
well,
it.
I feel like that's one of the things she would drunkenly tell the women, and they're the ones that brought it up.
Oh.
She didn't like talk about that on camera all the
You're-
time.
You're right.
If
You're right.
anything, she
it
was like, stop telling the camera
you're right.
what I told you.
Oh, you're right. It was like Tamra and Heather that spread
Everyone
that
was
in
like,
confessionals.
this is what she was always calling
you're
me
right.
upset about,
all right,
you
yeah.
know?
So, all right, she's in the clear there.
So she's like trying to go over she tells, you know, Heather about like, she's like, apparently there's this video thing, and Heather's like, low key, I already know.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, she's trying to go over the sequence of events from that night.
But before she does this, it's kind of like, if he goes low, I'm gonna go lower. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It is retaliation, right? She says, like, I don't need to make him look like a piece of shit. He can do that on his own. Like, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna reveal a new fact to you that's gonna make Johnny J look like absolute shit.
Right.
So isn't it like, isn't this like gonna make everything worse?
Right. Like, don't poke the bear. so to
Yeah, I
speak.
mean a little bit, you know.
Right.
But, and then
well,
I
especially because it's very unclear. Like,
Yeah.
I'm leaving this more confused than ever.
yeah. So you should say the details, and I just want to say that like I don't understand how this is an open and shut case
No,
against John
it's
Janssen.
confusing. So she talks about like the timeline. She says that like you know, she left his house, she lost control of the car, she hit the planter of the front of that house or whatever.
She says I hit one little piece of the brick of one planter on a house.
And then she goes, the police were there, I passed out, and I woke up in the hospital. And she goes, a really good friend of mine asked me recently,
10
like,
days later.
yeah, asked me, how long after you left him did you crash? And she said, like 3 to 5 seconds max.
Oh, I thought it was after. How quickly did you back out of the house? How quickly did you back out? I thought she said.
Well, I think she crashed like immediately. So
okay.
basically, how long
So
after you left John did you
Okay. Oh, okay.
pull out and
I
crash?
okay. I misunderstood that. Okay. So 3 to 5 seconds.
meaning that she crashed immediately after leaving his house, and he probably would have heard. Like, if you're in a huge fight with someone, they leave screaming and you hear them go,
You hear
and then
it. That yes, and the friend goes, how quickly or whatever, and she goes, well, yeah, 3 to 5 seconds, and then Heather's like, oh, so you think, she's trying to get what Shannon is saying, you think he didn't know what happened to you.
Like, you would think that he would have heard that.
Right.
But in her timeline, she says she hit the house or whatever. The police were there. She passed out and woke up in the hospital.
She drove away too, though, right? In
But
the footage?
we know that she then pretended to walk Archie.
Yeah. She said, she goes, come along, Archie.
Yeah, which she doesn't say here. But she says that
She says, because her defense is that she was unconscious.
right.
So she's saying she has no memory of all this stuff.
Right. So she says that she says that sometime just after midnight she sent a photo to Johnny J.
Yeah.
So like basically being like, look what just happened, you know? And he didn't text her back until like over an hour later saying, what the hell is going on? The cops are here and they just brought Archie home.
Yeah.
So they're trying to imply
That
he ignored the fact that she crashed and only dealt with it once like they knocked on his door, and like he kind of like didn't give a shit if she crashed or that she was bloodied, and just like was like, that's your fucking problem kind of a thing.
Yes.
But we know from the news that, and the fact that they had Archie or whatever, that the story originally was that she pretended to do like la-di-da-di-da, like
Just
left
walking
the
my
car
dog.
and
Yep.
walked the dog.
Yep.
Which means she was like awake.
Right, and I don't even
and, like,
think I don't
scheming.
even think saying that you sent the photo really adds any good, like anything good to your case here. Saying that you sent him the photo, and then when she shows Heather the photo, she doesn't show the text message. She shows the photo in her phone.
Right.
If she would have shown the text where Johnny J received
Left on
message
red.
left on red 2 hours later, why the hell is Archie here? But even I'm like, even at the worst, well, those are all the details, right?
Yeah.
Even the worst implication of this, that Johnny J knew she crashed into a house
Yeah.
and then sent him a bloody photo, and he didn't ask what was going on until an hour later. It's like, I mean, that's awful, I guess, right? That's just awful. Is that what she's trying to say? He's an awful person for not
I mean,
acknowledging.
it's such a shocking photo that
Yeah.
like, I mean, first of all, it's toxic. It's toxic that he let her leave and drive. Like, that's like, you know, not that like you can always stop someone or whatever, but like he obviously they have such drama going on that
Yeah.
the fact that she was even able to like leave and like fuck off like driving means that it was already like such a bad situation, because if
Yeah.
he was like level-headed or whatever, you'd be like, you cannot go right now or whatever. And then imagining if you did hear like a huge like boom immediately, that you wouldn't like come out and be like, are you okay?
I have to know more.
Yeah.
For me, this feels like when we were talking about like the Scott Peterson stuff and
Yeah.
Making a Murderer. It seems like Shannon brought into evidence a bunch of sort of red herrings and timelines
Yeah.
and details that are extraneous to me that don't really add up to very much.
Yeah.
Like the 3 to 5 seconds, I was unconscious. I didn't even know I sent this photo. I don't have a record of the text message, but here's the photo. 10 days later, my friend called me to ask a random question about
Right.
how long after, like,
Right.
oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that until 10 days later that John Janssen might have known that I ran into a brick wall.
Right.
I'm just like, I think that, unfortunately, I don't think she sold fully the narrative to me. She just made me a little more confused.
No, and
even
it's just a shocking image. You
the
know what I
image
mean?
is, picture is worth 1,000 words, but I don't know if it fully is the nail in the coffin that you wanted it to be about
No,
Johnny J. I already
and-
think Johnny J is shitty.
Totally. And like you're saying, like, I hate his guts, but like I don't know if she wants to open the can of worms
I know.
of the details that he will provide upon retaliation, because it's definitely not going to be good.
You're playing with fire.
Especially if you don't remember.
Yeah, and I really, her adding the I don't remember, I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I believe possibly that she did, but like, yeah, why do you want to wade in to this. Full mea culpa on this. I don't know what happened. It was so fucking horrible. I wouldn't get into the specifics of this because you're not going to make Johnny J look like a villain in this scenario. I don't think.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Unless there was a text that said like, "Not my problem, bitch."
Do you want another drink, Shannon?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I wasn't sold. I love Shannon, obviously. I'm fully, I have loved, I've found it very rewarding to watch how Shannon has navigated this. And I think she's so brave and honest. But this, she sort of waded into the, like, storyline fever of going against Alexis and Johnny J. And this did not, unless we see next week that it's, like, amazing evidence. But for now, I was not swayed.
Well, now I'm, like, intrigued. Like, I'm like, all right, well, now that we're doing a tit for tat, let's go.
Have you ever gotten a photo sent to you from a friend like that?
No.
Me neither.
I don't think I've ever shed that much blood.
Oh, from your face?
I don't think so. Although one time, this is such a random detail. One time my nails were long and I was washing my face and my finger shot up my nose and scratched the inside of my nose and blood just like poured out of my nose. It was shocking, but it was kind of cool because it like wasn't a big deal, but it looked so bloody that I looked like Andrew WK.
I was just going to say that. Andrew WK, Party Hard or whatever that album was called, where he had blood over his
Married
face.
to Kat Dennings.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Who's Kat Dennings again?
The actress from 40-Year-Old Virgin, Two Broke Girls.
He is?
Yeah, they had a beautiful wedding. You should Google it. It was in like Vogue.
Andrew WK, Kat Dennings' wedding?
Oh. It was really pretty.
I haven't thought about him in a while.
I used to love him. I've seen him live.
I worked with him once.
Was he super nice?
Yeah.
Totally.
Friendly as hell. Wearing that classic
All white.
outfit.
Yep. Love him.
Party Hard?
Yep.
Amazing.
He used to be married to a different woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was very like him. Like she wore like leotards and it was fun. I don't know what happened
That is
there.
so awesome. What happened? Okay, well, a 2-hour episode of Turtle Time.
Perfect. That's pretty good.
Really good. Everyone likes 2 hours. The length of a long movie.
Yeah, we got to get you home to your little.
Yeah, I got to see my baby girl Penny. I miss her. And I was gonna say this. I got lucky because my mother-in-law is helping me out. But there might be a chance that for a couple weeks, Turtle Time might be remote. Which we already introduced on Patreon. And I thought it was fun. It's not as lively as seeing us in this beautiful living room, but there might have to be a couple like remote, records for a little while. So I hope that doesn't piss any little turtle cuties off too much,
No, I feel like it's more of a visual thing than I don't think it affects the audio too much.
Good. Yeah, I don't think it did either.
Yeah.
Well, good. Do you want to say the beautiful stuff that we say at the end of these? I'll say the review one if you want to say that, or whichever one you want. Which one do you want to do?
I was going to say, we love hearing your kind words, and it helps us when you rate and review on whatever platform you use, because after a year and change, we've been doing this a year and a half.
Yeah.
We got to keep the discovery strong.
Yes.
I just saw someone said that they discovered us. It was a comment on like a Discord, and they found us because they bought a Kristen t-shirt and the tag said Total Time Podcast, and they took that next step.
No way.
Yeah.
From merch.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
it comes from all angles.
Do you get we get these beautiful chartable emails where I close my eyes and I only open them for one little peep just to make sure they're both 5 stars or a couple 5 stars. And the last chartable email we got was 2 beautiful new 5-star reviews. So we love that. And if you absolutely hate it, I understand if you want to give a bad review. But for Amy and I, it's so much better to get good reviews.
Yeah,
in my
keep
opinion.
us going.
and then I want to say 75 episodes are just waiting for you on Patreon. If you want to join the Turtle Time Patreon, I swear it is a gold mine or possibly silver mine. Maybe bronze? But it has 75 episodes where Amy and I are recapping Vanderpump Rules from the very beginning. You and I are like halfway through season 5. I can't believe it. Like you and I are going to be on season 8 2026, but I just can't believe we're actually making it all the way through. Like I
know. It's kind of wild.
It's wild. But it's so fun to talk about Vanderpump Rules with Amy. We're watching it together for the first time. And we're dissecting the shit out of it. And we also talk about sometimes topical stuff just mixes in with that if we can make it work.
The election.
We talk about the election, Josh Shapiro, whatever that happened there. But yeah, I swear, if you like Turtle Time, you might enjoy the Patreon. $5 a month, and you have access to the entire backlog, 75 episodes of content.
Well, yeah. Is that all we usually say?
Yeah, and then we do have a merch store. I don't know how
Yeah.
many people want to buy merch, but Turtle Time it's on Etsy, right?
Yep, it's on Etsy. It's like linked in our social, and I won't spoil it, but we probably have a cool, fun edition coming soon.
Yeah, people who enjoyed the Turtle Time trip where we went to Amsterdam might be pretty pleased when they find out who the next
Please does punch.
Please Test Punch when they find out who the next tribute shirt is going to be, if that's what they're
Yeah.
called. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to Turtle Time. Amy and I are fully back. No more Turtle Time trips for a little while. This was contemporary and hot off the presses. So we love you all so much, and
Yes.
sleep good tonight.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.